SLCA family across the country, across the world, in this very room. We are honored to be together, yes? It's an honor to be together in community, making connection this morning. Just take a deep breath. If you've been with us in adult study, welcome back. We have adult study every Sunday before services, so we welcome that community as well. Good morning. Please say hello in the chat. If you're online, we invite you to say hello to one another. Yes? I am opening. I am opening. Yes. My heart is ready. Ready to receive. We are opening. Our hearts are ready to receive. We are opening. Opening. Our hearts are ready to receive. So again, in the chat, just let us know where you're from, where you're listening in from, watching, either on Facebook Live or YouTube. We are so glad you are here with us. Good morning. All connected by the heart. Where do you end and where do I start? Anything you pray for, if fear is in your way, I am here to listen to anything you need to say. Your prayer is my prayer too. Amen. Your prayer is my prayer too. Let's just say that together. Your prayer is my prayer too. Joining together as we come together deeper and deeper. We affirm together your prayer is my prayer too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. My prayer too. Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. My prayer too. It's good to be together. Family. Thank you so much. In the house. We're in the house. We're online. We are together. So this week when I was rehearsing the music to share with you this morning, I realized this song, the next song coming up, it's written by Megan McDonald and Janice Stanfield, our colleagues in the New Thought movement. And it's called Amazing Things. And I thought, for many of us, we've already achieved our goals. We're on this trajectory of our lives where we are perhaps in the last third of our lives. And so even as I played this, and I actually sent a file of it to my great niece and great nephew, age 4 and 6, because to them, what they're going to do in their lives will be achieving. But many of us, as I said, we've already achieved our goals. So now what is the amazing thing that we do? And I really think it's to love. It's to connect and be our authentic self, and to share and to be present for one another. Amen. So as you hear this song, just take that in. We have achieved those outward possessions, those outward certificates, and those outward goals, and now we just reflect again that we are still achieving amazing things by making that connection. You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is found in every gift you give. Love your life and love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amen. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Oh, the places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry where, when, or how. You don't have to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, you will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind be rest for a while. Just let it rest. Amen. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. Close your eyes, take a breath, and smile. Pretty simple stuff. Amazing, amazing. You have done amazing things. Yes, you have. Amazing, amazing. Done amazing things. Yes. There's so many ways to look at that, yeah? So many ways to look at life. It's never too early for Pat Metheny. How about that for a sec? SLCA. song is called Lakes' composition. I was on a lake all day yesterday. How about you? Right? Outdoors, enjoying the weather? Yeah? There is a place in my heart where I can find the truth. Will you stand as we sing our opening song? I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. Yeah, Ethan, thank you. When we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from. Good morning. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Unfold, embrace and let go. Trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we can ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yes, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you. so it is. Thanks, everybody, for keeping time with that. I kind of missed my drum track, so I appreciate your Good morning, Reverend Susan. How are you?
I am darn good, thank you. And a gracious and glorious good morning to you. Good morning. Welcome everyone who's here in person today and who are watching online. My name is Susan Zoller. I'm a member of the ministerial team here at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are a center that educates and engages the seeker on their spiritual path. And as a member of a global movement, Centers for Spiritual Living, our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, and our vision is a world that works for everyone. And we are grateful for your presence this morning. Now, it's time for the call to service. Penelope, could you remind me, do we say this together now?
We do, because we have the information available.
Oh, good. The last time I told everyone to listen, and they talked anyway. This is a rowdy group. So if you choose to, would you join me in our call to service? How I choose to think creates my personal experience. Therefore, I choose to think affirmatively. I choose to live affirmatively. I choose to live affirmatively. Not only is this my right, it is my responsibility as a conscious being. I allow myself to be guided, used, and available for the reawakening of everyone's magnificent. The moment is now, and I say yes, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you.
Lighting the flames of faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people in all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and the presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them at this center, and for all religions unnamed in this ceremony.
Hello, I'm Jimmy Spearman, and I'm a member of the Creative Arts team at SLCA. I want to welcome everyone that's here for the first time. Whether it's your first time, you're watching from home, or you're a member, SLCA is where you belong. I wanted to tell you about some exciting opportunities to connect, grow, serve, and give at our center. For more information about today's announcements, as well as to find a full list of events and opportunities, please take a moment to scan the QR code, which can be found on the back of the seat in front of you on the tables around the sanctuary. We would like to thank each of you who give faithfully to SLCA. Your contributions have helped our center tremendously. To find out how to give, visit our digital program or our website, slca.com/donations. You may also text your gift to 404-800-9467. We will also do a grateful giving later on in the service. Practitioner and SLCA board member Baji Daniels will be hosting Tai Chi and a walk in the park at 1 p.m. on Sunday, September 26th. Please consider joining us for an introduction to Tai Chi and an opportunity to connect with our community. We will be in Mason Mill Park, which is less than 10 minutes from the center. Please register on Breeze so we can know how many to expect. Reverend Dr. David Alexander is back with another exciting opportunity to grow. Beginning September 27th, we will offer 5 Pillars of Spiritual Life, both in person at the center and by way of Zoom. If you find yourself stuck in the same routine and longing for something more, then this is the class for you. Reverend David will guide you through a six-week journey where you'll be offered manageable options for you to be able to begin incorporating powerful spiritual principles into your routine. To register for each of these opportunities, please visit our website at slca.com. SLCA and UUCA have teamed up to do a monthly food drive to serve Toco Hills Community Alliance in the SLCA parking lot. On our last drive, we collected 200 pounds of food. With your help, we can double that amount this time. All non-perishable foods are needed, and it's requested that no items be donated that are in glass containers. And we are always in need of diapers. Our next drive will take place September 12th from 2 to 4 p.m. Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta has been invited to participate in an upcoming inclusion series by way of Zoom, led by Reverend Deborah L. Johnson of Inner Light Ministries. It incorporates spiritual principles, social justice strategies, and organizational best practices. The inclusion series consists of 2 5-week workshops, which empower us to get off automatic pilot, examine inherited default positions, and make conscious choices as to how we show up collectively with one another. The first series, Unmasking Privilege, The Art of Sharing Power, begins September the 8th. And the second series, Cultivating the Consciousness of Inclusion, begins October 20th. As a participation bonus, SLCA Atlanta will receive 20% of the registration fees from everyone using our exclusive code. To find out more about this exciting opportunity and to register, please visit the URL code seen on your screen and use code SLCA Atlanta for $30 per workshop to be donated to SLCA Atlanta. A reminder to all practitioners, our monthly practitioner meeting will be this Tuesday at a new time, 6:30 to 8 p.m. Our practitioners will be led this month by Scheherazade Taylor on how practitioners can use science of mind to promote mental health in themselves and in others. We look forward to seeing each of our practitioners this Tuesday. Also, practitioners are available this morning for your prayer after service, both in person and online chat. If you wish to receive treatment, our online practitioner will provide their email so you can arrange a time. For in-person treatment, our practitioners will be found after service on both sides and the back of the room. And thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Jimmy. We're so glad that you shared all those wonderful announcements. If you really are concerned, then show it. If you really want to help, you can. If you lend a helping hand with struggling people right around you, you can make a different world. Amen? If you really are concerned, then speak up. Yes, you can demonstrate your point of view, but you've got to get involved with pressing problems closest to you if you want to change the world. Well, it's easy to sit on the sidelines. Ask, what can one person do? But each person has something special to give. No one can give it for you. If you really are concerned, then show it. If you really want to help, you can. But you better start right now by making changes while you're able, or your world will disappear. Let's take it, Fuji. Come on, now go somewhere. Sit on the sidelines. Ask, what can one person do? Oh, each person has something special to give. No one can give it for you. If you really are concerned, then show it. If you really want to help, you can. But you better start right now by making changes while you're able, or your world will disappear. Disappear. Thank you so much.
I wish everyone could see what I see right now. As I look around this room, I see so much intelligence, so much talent, so much faith. I am grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to be in a place that accepts people even when they forget the order of service. I've heard about it, I've never known it. But truly, I look in this room and I see so much that people have given and are giving and will give, that there's gratitude in my heart. And I would like to now do what we might call an affirmative prayer. I call it a declarative prayer. We're in the tradition of Jesus the Christ. I do not ask, I simply say thank you in full faith that it is done. You're welcome to join me. You can close your eyes or not. No one is watching. Just go inside yourself with me. Take a deep breath or two. And please take this personally. It's said for each of us. I am so grateful to be alive this moment. I am so grateful to be on this earth, to be in my country, my city, my spiritual center. Despite everything that is going on in the world that people may sensationalize or focus on, I know that this is a world that truly works for everyone and is creating greater and greater all the time. This is not an empty promise, this is spiritual truth. No matter what it seems like, I know that I have the ability and the power to guide the direction of my life and the world around me. What is my part of it? I know that things can be seemingly fearful, that there are things in this world going on I do not make light of. I know there is a lot going on, but I know that with faith and with the knowledge that there is a God within me that inhabits all, that animates all, that I can speak into this intelligent, creative mind of that which we call God, Spirit, by whatever name. And that intelligent mind responds to me. So I lift my vision. I find ways to be grateful, to be helpful, to be considerate, to be kind, to be generous. And I allow those things also to come back to me. And I know that what I do speaks so loudly, even more than the words that I say. So I make certain that my actions match up with what I truly believe. And this is my way I create a better world. And I send love to those all over. I send love to this planet, to every creature, to every whatever it is that inhabits this earth, be it plant, animal, stone, air, or water. I send comfort to those who are hurting. I give support to those around me. And by doing this, I uplift myself. And I am so grateful to know this and to know how to use these spiritual laws. And I'm grateful for this wonderful center, like centers all over this country and all over this world, that are giving the spiritual tools to be able to do this. And I declare that no matter what it seems, this world is getting better day by day. We know more, we do better, and we love greater. And so I humbly stand here and simply say thank you. Thank you from the depths of my heart, from the depths of my being, knowing there is nothing in opposition to these words unless I choose it to be, and I deny the power of anything to take me away from my deepest, most loving beliefs. So knowing that this is already so, I simply say thank you, thank you. Namaste, aloha, blessed be, amen, ashe, and if you care to join me, and so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. Through me.
Beautiful. Good morning. Take a deep breath. It's good to see you. It's good to be seen. It's good to be in community today. Amen. We're sending our prayers and love to those in all over the place. As Reverend Susan was praying, I'm thinking of New Orleans and Louisiana and New Jersey and New York and everywhere in between, Afghanistan and all places where people are hurting. Thank you for that beautiful prayer. We can connect in that moment as we connect with our global family here at SLCA. We have people joining us on Facebook and on YouTube. We have our practitioner in Kansas City, Kathy Nash Peterson. I just saw her picture on the wall with our practitioners. We have a practitioner in Chicago. We have people watching from Taos, New Mexico, and California and Oregon this morning. All over the place. So we're not alone. You belong right where you are online, and we belong right here in this room, and we all belong together. This morning and this month, we are looking at the topic of reaching higher. That's the title for today. It's the title for the month, and it's the theme of the September issue of Science of Mind magazine. If you're not a subscriber, I encourage you to check that out. So the articles and the work in there is focused on that idea, reaching higher. What do we mean by reaching higher? We took August rather, to kind of rest and a pause for guidance, to relax and reflect on some things. And now we're ready to reach higher. September for many, although here in Georgia, school starts in August, but for many, now the September, the school going back, and it's the beginning of the fall. You notice the cooler air in the morning. Amen. Amen. Yeah, it's wonderful. And so things are shifting and changing. It's the beginning of something new, while something is coming to a close in terms of summer and a transition of season. It's also the beginning of a new chapter, right? So it's time for us to learn how to reach higher. That's what we're going to focus on. And particularly here this morning and on Sunday mornings, we're going to focus on what is it in our movement where we need to reach higher? Where are we in terms of our growing edge, personally and collectively as a teaching? Are we expanding our understanding and application of our principles to include that collective good for the whole planet, as was spoken about in the prayer? Or are we being called to reach higher and push past our comfort zones? I don't know about you, but I've been kind of, when I hear that, reach higher, push past my comfort zone, the first reaction I have is a bit of resistance, to be honest with you, right? Because I'm actually, I'd really love to have my comfort zone right now. I haven't been in my comfort zone in 2 years, So I'm like, wait a second, reach past my comfort zone. I'd like to find it, to be honest with you. Truth be told, amen, somebody? Amen. But nonetheless, right, our growth, our transformation is not found in our comfort zone. Our purpose is always bigger than our comfort zone. And so there is a need. We feel and sense the need in the planet, in humanity, to reach higher, to extend, to move. The question on my mind is, how do we move anchored in our spiritual principles, amplifying our spiritual truth as we have come to understand it in such a polarized world and environment, right? Because the polarization is just continuing to increase, right? Keep thinking it's going to go down. It's like past the election, it's like, all right, it's going to cool off. No, it's just getting worse, right? Now, I want to say something very important here about this, because our polarization, highlights all of these differences. We have differences maybe in our families about our political positions. We have differences about mask wearing and vaccines and all of that stuff that's, really up for people right now. It's up for us in our family because I've got a little one that can't get a vaccine, and so we're mindful about where we can go and if we can, go to a festival outdoors or to a large crowd indoors. We're very mindful and considerate of those things, and not everybody has the same relationship with those questions and concerns that I do. There's differences, and those differences are based on all kinds of things, trust of the government or lack thereof, personal history, political position, all sorts of things that make up those differences. But here's the thing I want you to remember. Our differences are not the problem. Our differences are not the problem. Our contempt for our differences is the problem. Our contempt. Differences are divine. Differences are divine. Diversity is a part of how God works. God is all that there is, right? We affirm and acknowledge a one power, one spirit that moves in, through, and as all things. And so diversity, like a garden, diversity just is, right? Now, inclusion, as the series, and I'm one of the facilitators for small groups for that series with Reverend Deborah Johnson that starts this Wednesday. One of the things we discuss in that is, diversity is, but inclusion is an act that has to be cultivated. But diversity just is. That's the natural part of God. So our differences is not the problem. It's our contempt for the differences. It's our disdain and our anger and our upset and all of the stuff that's coming up when people are not behaving or acting in the ways that we think they ought to behave and act, or in ways that we think are for the public good, right? And I include myself in that. Again, it's personal for me. I got a little one. I got a teenager in high school. I get upset when I see the stuff that's happening, and I'm going, we could be in a different place with this whole health thing if we all chose to behave a certain way. But when's the last time that you have tried to force your preferences on somebody else's behavior? And when was the last time that worked out well? Never, right? Not even with a toddler, right? Place where I have the most leverage to do that kind of thing. And it rarely ever works out, only temporarily, right? But it always comes back to get me. So our differences are not the problem. Our contempt for the differences are. There's a wonderful book. I don't remember the author off the top of my head right now, but I pulled a poem from it. It's called "Loving Your Enemies," and it's about how to communicate and how to navigate in political differences. And he put this in here, and he talks about contempt a lot in the book. He says, the important thing about contempt is that it is bad for us. Sometimes we don't like people who disagree with us, and we want to tell them that they are idiots. And social media makes it easy to do. And pundits get rich by doing it. And it may seem that some of them deserve our contempt. But the important thing about contempt is that it's bad for us. So how do we live our spiritual values of oneness and love and inclusion? And more importantly, how do we navigate this polarized world that we have found ourselves in? That's what we're going to explore as we look at reaching higher to a higher plane of consciousness as we try to navigate this month. So the first thing I want to share with you is a lesson that took me a long time to learn, and I'm glad that I did, because it has transformed my relationship with our teaching and my practice of it in the world. And that is this: transformation. Transformation is something we talk about a lot. Right? Transformation is what we're up for. We're up for the transformation of our consciousness, the transformation of our planet, the transformation of our lives. Transformation is a big subject. If you look at New Thought literature, transformation, the spiritual awakening, if you want to call it that, right? Lots of ways you can approach it or call it. But transformation must be contextualized, not merely intellectualized. I say that again. Transformation must be contextualized, not merely intellectualized. If all you do is have an intellectual understanding of transformation, then you're just a philosopher, right? And I remember when I got into justice work and into wanting to help very early on in my ministry and get connected with people, and I had the blessing to have opportunities to meet and connect with people like Bishop Yvette Flunder and Deborah Johnson and many others who were deeply entrenched in these worlds. And I showed up with my philosophy of oneness. It's just all love. It's just we're all just one, and we just need to love each other. And, if we just stop the negative thinking and just really bring this And thankfully, I had, loving people around me, loving teachers and guides that are still in my life. And they said, "Oh, honey, that's sweet." Right? And we're not telling you you're wrong. But what we really want to know is, are you in it? Because it's one thing to intellectualize about it, but are you in it? Do you have feet on the ground? They didn't care. I just showed up at conferences and showed up at things, and I said, okay, I'm here. And the only thing they wanted to know was, are you in it? Do you have skin in the game? Do you really care about what's going on? right? As Bishop Flender, a piece of wisdom that she gave me years ago, she said, I love your movement, I love your teaching, I love your prayers, I love the works of Ernest Holmes, but I want you to stop praying as if people's lives are not on the line. Right? That's, are you in it? Are you in it? Are you contextualizing this idea of transformation, or are you just philosophizing about it? And so, as we navigate what it means to be reaching for higher ground of our transformational understanding of ourselves and our principles of oneness, we have to become aware of kind of what we're dealing with, what the landscape is. So quick exercise I want you to do. Just take a breath, and I just wanted to sit down for a minute and just guide you through this. So just take a breath, and we're just going to move into a state of awareness for a moment. Now, some of you are deep and quick meditators. Don't go there. I say take a breath, and you're like zoned out into the ether. So quick, come back. We're not that fast, right? We're just in this moment. Stay here, stay with me, and just begin to pay attention. First, to any sensations that your body is having. Maybe it's the depth or the quality of the breath. Any tension in the muscles, temperature in the room. Just pay attention. Where are there sensations? And just notice if and how those sensations change. If you stay with just focusing on sensations long enough, you'll notice that they just gradually, slowly move from one sensation to the next. All right, now take a breath. And now turn your attention and awareness to your thoughts. Just any thought that's passing through your mind. Doesn't have to be about this moment. It's very likely is not. Maybe it's what's for lunch. Maybe it's what am I going to do tomorrow, Labor Day. Maybe it's how long is he going to do this? Whatever the thought is. And you'll notice that your thoughts primarily are anchored in either the past or a projection of the future. Very rarely are your thoughts in the present moment. Thoughts in the present moment are really sensations. I feel this. I'm aware of that. Because the moment you can think about it, it's already passed. So just take note of these distinctions. Now take in another deep breath and come back to fully present in this room. Okay, quick, that's all. It's just a quick exercise to make you aware that we have thoughts, we have sensation, and the work of transformation is about increasing our awareness of those things, where our sensations are, where our thoughts are. And you'll notice, as I said, your thoughts are kind of like a ping pong ball in a wood box, bounce all over the place. Right? Your thoughts go from this to that to this to that. There's no rhyme or reason to them. They can go from dramatic to low to passive to active to all sorts of things. And they're either primarily in the past or projections of something in the future. They're very rarely in the actual present. It's very hard to have a thought that is just this present moment. Very easy to have a sensation in this moment and become aware of that. And then you have a thought about that sensation. But the moment you have the thought about the sensation, it's now the past. Right? It's the sensation that you were just having. So it happens very quickly. Your sensations kind of gradually, I kind of liken it to to a ambient light that you might have that is on a color wheel. It just changes, right? Gradually goes from red to purple to blue to, right? But your thoughts are scattered and bouncing all over the place. Our goal in spiritual growth and transformation is to increase our awareness by slowing down the thoughts, noticing the sensations, and moving or reaching higher to what is beyond. The question in our spiritual growth and transformation in relationship to this is this: what would happen if all of our sensations were taken care of, right? There was no need to take care of. Everything was fine in the present moment. And then in terms of our thoughts, all of the thoughts of the past were resolved, all of our worries or fears about the future, concerns about what's next were taken care of. And what if all of our desire, because so many of those things are actually anchored to justification, right? We have a thought because we keep thinking that thing because we really want, I can't wait till I get home so I can tell him or her this, and then they will see it the way I see it, right? There's a justification behind that, a seeking of validation. There's this thing in your mind that's constantly looking around for validation. So what if you could receive all of the validation that you could possibly want in your life? Then what? See, just asking the question actually causes you to reach higher. See, if I'm not distracted by what I need to do next to get my validation from him or her or this or that or whatever it might be, everything was all right, then suddenly I would be available to something greater. You see how we keep ourselves distracted? By running after our validations. Am I making sense? All right. So that's all just backdrop for today. Now, how do we, that's the context, that's kind of the box that we're bouncing around in. How do we move in this polarized world, practicing oneness, practicing love, practicing this idea that there's one infinite reality, there's one divine life called by many names, universal spirit, infinite intelligence, first cause, the thing itself, one undivided, unified, complete substance. And out of this oneness, it creates everything. How do we live and embody that in such a polarized world and space? Love, as Ernest Holmes defines, is the self-givingness of the spirit to itself for the sake of its own creation. In other words, the universe so loved itself and wanted to know itself as that diversity that it created you, a holy and unique individualization of itself, right? How do we embody love in the atmosphere that we have found ourselves in? When we embody love, we live from unity. But when we get confused by the world of effects, anybody get confused by the world of effects? It means just all the noise, all the traffic, all the stuff that's going on in our mind and in the news and everything else. When we get confused in the world of effects, we think and feel that we are separate, and then from that place, our judgment about good and bad and right and wrong and all of that stuff begins to rise. You see, the judgment decreases the moment that we're anchored in complete wholeness and oneness. So, again, how do we move in this awareness in a way that brings more love, unity, wholeness, and peace into the world? Ernest Holmes said this in one of his first books, The Creative Mind. It's written about 100 years ago now, a little over 100 years ago. I think Creative Mind was 1918. He said, "Do you realize that your karma is nothing more than false thinking, and that the only way to escape is to think the truth, and that brings with it a higher law?" And then he says this, was a little bit of a riddle, but we'll break it down. He says, "When the oldest enters, the youngest leaves, because there's nothing to give it life. The past is gone when we learn to forgive and to forget. Do you realize that your karma is nothing more than your false thinking? That the only way to escape this is to think the truth, and that brings with it a higher law. When the oldest enters, the youngest leaves, because there is nothing to give it life. What he's speaking about there is thoughts. When the oldest thought, when the past thought comes in, the thought that you've been thinking that you haven't been able to let go of, when it's about the argument, it's about it's about whatever it is, it's that old thought. When the old thought comes in, the new thought doesn't have space. The new thought leaves because now this old thought, which has been around longer, has more energy, more attention, more awareness in your collective, in your greater consciousness, comes back and says, I'm back, right? Ready to entertain me again? Oh yeah, come on in, sit right down. Right? The new thought, the things that's emerging, budding, maybe take you in a new direction about relationship or health or the world or whatever it might be. The new thoughts don't have a chance to emerge. So, what does it mean? What does it mean? The starting point is to navigate this confusion, is to stop seeing the duality and to begin to navigate this polarized world and live our values of oneness and inclusion. Now, we have a lot of answers in The Science of Mind text by Ernest Holmes and other New Thought authors that came before him. We have a lot of content. Like, I could pile it up, like if I were to extract all the quotes and everything, we'd have a really thick pile of stuff that would say the way that we navigate all of the world of effects and illusions and the illusion of separation and the judgments of good, bad, right, and wrong, etc., is to simply not pay attention to them, to turn away from the condition, to think positively, to not dwell on it. Right? It's like lesson 101, right? Don't feed that one. It won't grow if you don't feed it. And all of these things that we've heard. Now, I've spent a good portion of the second half of my ministry, of the however many, I don't know if it's the second half, but you know what I mean. The last portion of my ministry. I've spent a good portion of it leaning into the idea that this advice alone is shallow, that it can make us appear aloof and uncaring and indifferent to the suffering of the world, that just responding to the world of negativity and the noise of confusion and separation of us and them and judgment and everything else, and just saying, well, I'm not going to pay attention to that. I'm not going to dwell on that. I don't go there, right? That alone by itself, while it's certainly important to have a positive mental outlook on life, that alone by itself can lead to an appearance of being spiritually aloof, uncaring, disconnected. Again, question that my bishop asked me, are you in it? Where is your skin in the game? Are you just philosophizing about how to make everything better and think positive? Or are you, remember, transformation has to be contextualized, not just intellectualized. And I've said very plainly, as I've responded to this struggle about my own faith and the practice of it, that I believe that the sum total of our spiritual practice, we need to come to terms. Or let me say it this way. I read the wrong line there. I've said very plainly that if this just turning away from the negative, trying to think positive, right? You know, it's all in all the songs, right? Accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, don't mess with Mr. In Between, right? Come on. If that's the sum total of our philosophy, if that's the sum total of our theology, then we have to come to terms with the idea that we are peddling a theology of privilege. Because not everybody can do that. Right? If you are contextualizing your transformation in your spiritual practice, that's not always easy. There are things and factors and stuff, and you're following what I'm saying? And so I've asked my colleagues, I've asked the New Thought movement, like, okay, if that's the sum total of what we say we've got to teach, okay, right? I don't get to make that decision. But if that's it, then we need to come to terms with the idea that what we're offering is a theology of privilege for those who can, right? I think we've got something more than that. I think we're a theology of liberation. I think that it encompasses our spirit, our mind, and our body. That it is holistic in its emancipatory power. Emancipatory. Is that? Am I on? Is that a word? Try it on Scrabble and see what your friends say. Good luck getting to it. That's a long one. All right, but I think our theology is holistic. We talk about the spirit, the mind, and body, that thoughts become things, that everything appearing in the outside began in the beginning as a thought, right? And there's a through line that connects spirit, mind, and body into a holistic awareness. And so if we are a teaching of freedom and spiritual liberation from our thoughts, our fears, our doubts, our worries, our concerns, that we might master that mindfulness and produce a life of wholeness and love and beauty and well-being, etc., that it's got to come all the way through and be embodied on another level, right? Because your body and my body lives inside of the one body. Because the one body is all that there is. Am I making sense? Right? So liberation is not merely, our kind of spiritual liberation is not merely individualistic, but rather it has the power to be collective since we are all one, even as it is individualized through you. So your practice of the liberation is individualized through you because you are part of the one. You become a place through which the collective then begins to get free. Am I making sense? Your freedom leads to the freedom of everybody else, right? Your liberation leads to the liberation of everyone else. So it's practiced at the individualized level, but it has collective implications. And it's done through the application of our principles. Everybody with me so far? So now what do we do with this idea that we so often and so frequently teach and say that, we should just turn our head and not focus on any of the negative things happening in the world? There's a story in Genesis. Somebody said, oh no, he's going to go there. I got a curveball for you though. It's the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Didn't see that coming, did you? I'll try to make it quick. Now, the story is in Genesis, which means the beginning, right? And in our teaching, we say everything is created in where? In thought, in consciousness, right? The beginning of everything is consciousness. So everything that's in the book of Genesis is about what? Consciousness. It's a book of consciousness. In the beginning, how thoughts become things. See that? Look at that. You're already master metaphysician, Bible interpreters, just like that, right? So it's that easy. You just got to break it down and think about it for a little bit. Let go of any past training you've had about it or what you grew up with the story meaning and just break it down. If it's in Genesis, it's about consciousness. It's all about consciousness, but it's about the beginning, about how things come out of consciousness into manifestation. And so we got these two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. And today we're going to ignore all of the stuff about the cities of why and all, because those are just red herrings in the story to get us distracted into moral debate and argument. But it says that the cities were filled with sin, right? Filled with all kinds of stuff. Now, if God is all there is, and if the ultimate covenant of our awareness is about our relationship with God, our awareness, our connection, the idea that we belong to each other, then we could let go of all the other stuff that's in the commentary about Sodom and Gomorrah and just summarize and say that the biggest sin, if you will, or mistake that we could make is forgetting that we belong to each other. Right? I mean, if the whole thing breaks down to our connection and awareness with the divine and with each other, then the biggest sin we can make is forgetting that and not treating each other as if we belong to each other. So forget all the other stuff about the city. We just think this is a place where they have forgotten that. And it's manifesting itself in wild and interesting ways, right? But disharmony in the universe of harmony can only exist for so long. You play two discordant notes on the piano, the dissonance can only last so long. Eventually, even beyond our ears' capacity to hear it, the vibration of those two discordant notes actually resolve themselves in harmony. Did you know that? It's the law of harmonic convergence. Two discordant notes, which I promised if I got up there, that's all you would hear, right? It doesn't sound right because they're not in harmony with each other. It doesn't sound right to our ear. And if we were to measure or look and be able to see a picture of the frequency of those two notes, we would see them be in disharmony with each other and then eventually settle and resolve themselves outside of our ears' capacity to hear it, but vibrationally we could measure it and would see that they would resolve themselves in terms of harmony. Why? Because the first, as Ernest Holmes described it, the first law of the universe is harmony. God is all there is. There's only one thing happening here. So that which appears to be disharmonious is only temporary. Everything resolves itself back in harmony. So it comes to pass that these two cities, these two places where disharmony exists, has got to get resolved. God sends two angels. Anytime we see in biblical text God sending angels as the messenger, it is, remember, everything's in consciousness. Everything's that we're reading there is happening here. So in consciousness, angels are always our intuition, our insights. So our intuition says it's time to get this settled. It's time to bring this disharmony back into order. It's time to stop doing what is not working and get back in relationship with the divine. Have you ever had an intuition thought like that? So see, you're right with the story already, see? So what happens is they're not received well. And there's some inhospitable things that begin to happen. And again, there's lots to make about the nuance of all of that. And that's a different topic for a different day. And it's fascinating. But we'll just keep it simple today. They're not received well. Have you ever not received your intuition well? Have you ever rejected it? Have you ever said, not today, Jesus, not today, right? I don't want that thought today, right? And the intuition says, this is what you need to do. You got to stop doing that thing. You got to get back on track and do this. And you're like, no, not today, right? That's what's happening here. They try to bribe the angels. They try to give them favor. They try to do all kinds of weird and interesting things. It doesn't work. By the way, all of that is not about sexuality. It's actually about hospitality. But that's a different sermon for a different day. So anyway, the angels come to the conclusion, listen, that's been nice and everything. Thanks for the offer of all of these interesting things, but we're going to destroy the city anyway. Now, they say Lot is the only good person around, so they give him a warning. They say, look, we're going to do it tomorrow morning, so get your wife, get your kids, and get the heck out of here. Head to the high hills, head to higher ground, right? And don't look back, because we're going to take care of this situation, because it's beginning to sound a lot like Pulp Fiction. But anyway, I digress, right? And here's the point in terms of understanding this relationship with not looking at the negative things. The angels say, don't look back. And what does Lot's wife do? Rubbernecks and looks back, doesn't she? Right? They're fleeing out of town, and she rubbernecks and looks back. And what happens to her? Turns into a pillar of salt. Now, what does any of that have to do with what I've been talking about so far today? I said, bring it home, Rev. Remember this. Our thoughts are always, in the little exercise that we did, our thoughts are either anchored in the past or projecting into the future, right? When we dwell in the past, after a decision or a commitment has been made for transformation to occur, right? The angels came, the intuition said, this is what's going to happen. We're going to bring this thing back into harmony. The collective now has made a decision. This is what's going to occur. Don't turn back, right? Move forward. You've made a decision. You're leaving the relationship. You're stopping that habit. You're no longer doing this. You've made that decision. Now, move in that direction and don't look back. Why? As Ernest Holmes says, because when the older comes in, there's no room for the younger. There's no room for the new. When the old thought comes in, it takes over because it's been established. It has familiarity with our attention and awareness. So Lot's wife looks back, and watch this. It's not that she turns to salt. That's the metaphor. What happens to her? She crystallizes into the form of consciousness in her past. Lord Jesus, that was a long ramp onto that, but I hope you got that, because if this was a Pentecostal church, there would be some dancing right about now. She crystallized, she looks back, and her thought crystallizes into a form that is the old consciousness. That's why Ernest Holmes and others say, don't dwell on the negative, don't look back, don't focus on that, because you don't want your consciousness to be crystallized into that which is no longer serving you. You want your consciousness to go forward into the atmosphere, into the direction, into the higher ground, because you've already made a decision that this disharmony has to heal itself. It's got to get healed. So stop dwelling on it. Stop having the old thought. You following what I'm saying? We become, and when we look back, we become crystallized into that form of consciousness. And so it turns out that what we actually need to do is to do both. We need to have deep inquiry into the nature of that which appears to be contrary to our harmony and to wholeness. And when we do that with compassion and love, when we have deep inquiry for that which appears to be counter to harmony and wholeness, we reveal the hidden belief at the core. And when we can address the hidden belief with compassion and love and mindfulness, then that consciousness will aid in the transformation of what's going on. In other words, when we can think critically about why is this person having such a different viewpoint of what should happen around this issue, public health, wearing masks, political positions, whatever it might be, right? What is it? Don't pay attention like Sodom and Gomorrah. Don't pay attention to the stuff on the surface, right? Those are all just red herrings to get us distracted. What is it behind it? What is the fear? What is the concern? What is the worry? What is the value that's trying to be expressed from this person's point of view? Then you'll begin to get some insight into maybe what the false belief is that resides at the heart of the contention and of the contentment. Because you begin to see that other people, while they act differently than you and they believe differently than you and they make different choices than you do, they want more or less the same things, right? They want what feels right for them and for their children, and they want their freedoms and liberation, and they want to be valued and to be seen and to be heard and all of those things. Now, I know some people that are trying to get those things in some really weird ways, right? And some ways that I don't think are very effective. God bless me in my judgment of them, right? But what do they want? They want to be valued and seen and heard and appreciated, right? They want to be connected. They want that covenant to be reestablished. So healing the illusion of separation that is at the heart of our polarized world of effects is possible, but it's only through the combined effort of choosing not to feed the negativity or look back, and being compassionately curious about the hidden beliefs behind the negativity. When we approach our work with this, with what's possible on the other side of healing, rather than our judgment for what appears to be, then we are truly reaching higher, to a higher possibility of humanity, a higher possibility of conversation, a higher possibility of engagement with each other that we can never get to if we just stay in our judgments and our polarized positions. It's not easy, but it's the practice of our faith. It's the practice of our teaching. It's the practice that says, there's only one thing happening here. God is all that there is. And I know that there's a lot that appears to be disharmonious, right? But there's something that's trying to happen through it, and I am at the table with skin in the game. I'm not just intellectualizing about how to heal it. I'm here to participate and to open myself up to being a part of the solution. And notice that everything that I just said doesn't mean that you can't make decisions for your children and your family and your well-being. You get to make your decisions based on your values, based on your insights, based on how you want to make those. But you leave a door open to say, let's have a deeper conversation with my neighbors, my family, my friends that I might have a disagreement with. And how can we reach higher to a plane of possibility that brings us all together? I don't know who else can do this, but what I'm certain about is it's not the politicians. It's not the pundits on TV, even on the channels I like to watch, right? It's people like you and I, people who are grounded in a spirituality of oneness that can hold open that door and say, there's something else trying to happen here. I'm aware of my sensations, my judgments, my thoughts, past, present, and future. And I'm suspending all of that for a moment to step into and reach something higher. Say, what's trying to happen here? And there, in the space of answering that question, we will find new higher ground to stand on. Thank you, beloveds. Peace and blessings. So it is. Take a breath. We'll wrap that up. And I should have brought you up as I was doing all that because that was really good.
And I was right there on the verge of coming up.
Yeah, see? Follow that intuition. So I just invite you to take a breath again. Think of any place in your life, in the world. Pick one from the news or pick one from your own family or circle where there's disharmony, where there's tension, where there's contentment. And just invite yourself to reach a little bit higher. Notice that your judgments of who is right and who is wrong, those are all thoughts that are anchored in the past, or they're fears that are projected into the future. Any sensations that you have about lack of safety or anxiety, just notice them. They're just sensations. Sensations come, sensations go. You are not your sensations. You are that which has the sensations. You are not your thoughts. You are that which has the thoughts. You are that which does not come or go. That which is. Sensations come and go. Thoughts come and go. You are the I am. And out of this place, know that you have the capacity to make all the choices you need to make to keep your friends, your family, your own self, and well-being safe and secure in the world. And out of that space, you can begin to be curious. What is it that's really trying to happen here? In this individual relationship of contentment or disconnect? What is the fear at the bottom of it? Not just for me, but for this other person. And how can I begin to rise to higher ground where I see the fear being dissolved and new answers and new possibilities emerge? You don't need to know the answer right now. You just need to be willing to engage in this practice on a moment-by-moment basis as it comes up through the week. And in doing so, you are on the path. And being on the path is all that is asked of you. That's it. Just be willing. Because your willingness will make a way. And the answers will reveal themselves in exactly the moment that they need to. The angels of your intuition will appear. And you will greet them hospitably. And so it is.
All over our country and around the world, ministers are giving talks on this same topic today, their version of it. But I don't think anybody's going to say it quite like our Reverend Dr. David said it. Isn't that wonderful? Are we not grateful to have such a leader? Thank you. That was wonderful. Do you want to reach a little higher today? So do I. And I want to stop and remember all the people that made this service possible. The music, the volunteers, the sound team, everyone. And I want to give a special shout out to our Reverend Dr. David's mom, Karen, who raised such a man. And for the men that Reverend Dr. David is raising in his own family, because I know we're changing the world. And so right now, I'd like to acknowledge our first-time visitors. If this is your first time here at SLCA, we invite you to stand so that we can welcome you. Our ushers are handing you a card. Well, if you're at home, you just also stand too. A personal note inside for you, and there's a welcome ambassador for fellowship in the lobby following the service. And for everyone who has chosen to have Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta for your celebration today, thank you. We welcome each of you in need of prayer to remain in this room for one-on-one prayer with a licensed practitioner. Practitioners be available on both sides in the back of the room. If you're a practitioner, raise your hand, would you, so people can see? We are here for you. And as we enter our time of grateful giving, we wish to thank everyone who faithfully gives to SLCA. And it is because of our contributions we can continue to spread this message of oneness. If you were inspired by this message today, as I was, please consider becoming a recurring pledger or give what is on your heart today. And you can go to our website and contribute or text your gift to 404-800-9467. You can give with a credit card using our digital program with the QR code on the back of the seat in front of you or the tables around the sanctuary. Our ushers will be walking through the aisles shortly to receive your cash or check contributions. And I want to invite you to put a little money into this today, to put a little energy into that money, because that's all money is. Would you stand? Would you stand with me and take your contribution if you have that, or if you've already given, just hold it in your heart. Take a moment and know that this contribution is going around the world, throughout the globe, and into the ethers as we say our affirmation for grateful giving. Would you join me? I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you so much. So as our ushers are coming forward, I just wanted to share this little chant. It is, I am so grateful, so grateful. I am grateful for, don't go away, John, all that I have. I am so grateful. There you go. So grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful. So grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. Yes, I am so grateful. So grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. Yes, indeed. And so we also want you to have a great weekend. Whatever you're doing this weekend, do it with a friend, right? Come on. We love you online. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a